lawmaking. Honorable Speaker, there is nothing in the standing orders that provides for people to raise their hands and be counted. Where do you see that in the standing orders? And that is what was done here. Yes, no, and you are recorded by history. Look at Standing Order 47, Honorable Speaker. Standing Order 47 tells you exactly what should happen, Honorable Speaker. That when a division is claimed, either in the assembly or in committee, this is where the mistake lies. Committee of Supply is not a standing committee, it's not a select committee, it's not a special select committee. It's a committee of the whole National Assembly. Its procedures is different from what is under Standing Order 75.5. It says, Honorable Speaker, when a division is claimed, either in the Assembly or in the committee, that is the Committee of Supply, every member present and entitled to vote shall, unless he or she expressly states that he or she declines to vote, record his or her vote either for the ayes or for the noes. The clerk shall enter on the minutes the record of each member's vote. As soon as the clerk has collected the vote, the speaker or in the committee, the chairperson shall state the numbers voting for the ayes and the noes, respectively, and shall then declare the results of the division. Honorable Speaker, 46.3. If upon any division the votes of members are equally divided, the motion shall be lost. Honorable Speaker, the clerk's responsibility in taking the division, the names of the members to vote shall be called in alphabetical order. Honorable Speaker, people don't know their standing orders and they want to pass judgment on people who know, who should behave in an arrogant manner. We are all colleagues. We know that this National Assembly is a new National Assembly. We have not seen people holding caucuses and compelling people to vote in one manner or the other. So we must appreciate that something new has emerged in the country, something we need to nurture. Nurture by sharing each other's experiences. Honorable Speaker, the procedure was wrong. That's why I said I would not participate in a flawed process. Whether in court or in this assembly, process and merit is what must be utilized to make a decision. When process is flawed, there is no need to go into merit. That is my principle. Honorable Speaker, this National Assembly was dragged to consider that that appropriation, the estimates, was a case of an emergency. I look at the definition of emergency in the interpretation. Have you seen it, honorable members? You'll see nothing about emergency. Honorable Speaker, under Section 106, the Speaker does not have an original or casting vote. The Speaker does not make decisions in this National Assembly. It's the members who make decisions. So any matter of emergency should have been put, and when the question is put, we'll decide whether it's emergency or not, other than what is provided for in the Constitution under Section 101. And listen to what Section 101 says. Subsection 3 of Section 101. No bill other than a bill referred to in subsection 5, and that is a bill that is introduced and referred to a committee. No bill other than a bill referred to in subsection 5 shall be introduced into the National Assembly unless it has been published in the Gazette, and such publication has been made at least 14 days before the day of its introduction. Is that what happened with this bill? It was rushed here under the cloud of darkness, and people made to consider what has not been provided by the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, the only exception here is that provided that if the President certifies that the enactment of a bill is of urgency, then there should be certificate of urgency. And that too is not an imposition. The question must be put, and we will decide whether we will hold the matter under emergency or will not consider the matter under emergency. The Constitution made everything that happened here, our standing orders made everything that happened here to be flawed. And knowledgeable people do not participate in flawed process. They are safeguarding their own integrity and history. Honorable Speaker, we have guided the minister. The minister brought this. We said that it's our duty to consider the national interest. I will not go very far with 153, but it is very clear that before the expenditure is in court, the Honorable Minister is guided. The rider is the Public Finance Act. The rider under Section 29 says very clearly that any expenditure discovered at the end of a financial year to constitute excess expenditure. Excess expenditure. That's what it says. If you look at here, I don't want to go into the detail anymore. You will see that the minister is telling us implies excess budgetary overruns. Excess budgetary overruns. What does that mean? Excess expenditure. So essentially, what we are saying here, many things were there that needed proper scrutiny before we commit ourselves. And under the law, Section 32 makes it very clear that any unpaid expenditure, so the expenditure is either excess expenditure or unpaid expenditure, and if it's unpaid expenditure, shall be paid from the appropriations of the next financial year. So essentially, we guided the minister that this is the reality. Why bring this to us and create complication for this National Assembly at this time, when it's the end of the financial year? That's the lesson that should have been learned. Nobody is saying people should not receive their salaries. Nobody is saying anything should happen, but give us the time to be able to do our scrutiny so that we'll be able to do our work so that we'll not be indicted by history. That is the essence. Honorable Speaker, let me continue. The essence here, Honorable Speaker, is that we are dealing with the lifeline of this country. That is the budget session. And the minister had told us the situation that we are in. Honorable Speaker, it is very clear from the information we received that in terms of our reserves, we had 2.8 months of cover in 2017. Now it's 3 months. 3 months. What has happened to the convergence criteria of ECOWAS for this ECO? Because they do not qualify for even that convergence criteria. And what has happened to the whole notion of an ECO? So clearly 3 months is still a danger point, and we should take note of that. Honorable Speaker, the minister told us that 25.3 billion is what we anticipate to spend. And what we are producing locally is 11.8. 13.5 billion must come from grants and budget support. And last year it was 10.2. Honorable Speaker, is scaling. And what we are told in terms of the revenue What is coming from non-tax revenue is just 1 billion. The rest is tax revenue. And we are told by the minister that now for the National Development Plan, we are talking about $1.7 billion. The bulk, loans. How are we going to pay it if we are going to rely entirely on taxation? That is inconceivable, Honorable Speaker. We are mortgaging the future. What we can do to be able to address that issue is to be able to build sovereign national wealth. From the mines, we are told that instead of telling us that more prospecting is being done, we are told that what is in Katong, Batukungu, Sanyang is in fact limited. Nothing is said about it, its past, its present, its future, what it can really generate. It's like it's not even significant. Another minister comes and tells us, we are so weak, we can only use our ocean. 5.4 million euro is going to come in 6 years. And some members say, well, this is a lot of money. It's going to help us with budget support. They didn't ask, what is the investor gaining? Nobody has told us yet. What are they gaining? And Honorable Speaker, these are the same people who would say that these young people should not go to those countries, they must come back. I said here, this is our negotiating position. You are benefiting from our waters. We must ensure that your vessels will have equal number of workers, and they will be trained there. We should have negotiated that you must give us about 2 fishing trawlers afterwards, so that those people who work with you eventually will come and work in those fishing trawlers. The ACP-EU relationship is based on that foundation. What it says is that they are going to facilitate the eradication of poverty and also to ensure that the ACP states are linked into the global economy. Since that is the agreement, when we go to negotiate with them, and let me emphasize to people here, don't see this happening and you say the Europeans are not a homogeneous group. We are in the ACP-EU Parliament. We know what's being said there. The issues, different groups are there, waiting to listen to what our concerns are so that they will support that in their own terrain. That's why we are in those bodies. Honorable Speaker, this is the time that we should sit down and examine our national interests. And when we negotiate to defend that national interest. If we do not do so, we are simply recycling the whole poverty chain, and it will come back to us. Honorable Speaker, the minister did inform us of the debts. And instead of 129% of GDP, 88% of GDP. But what is being done? What are we producing? What are we selling? How is the productive base of our economy developing? And clearly, Honorable Speaker, what we are simply doing, yes, NAWEC is producing, that will contribute to GDP, but what is NAWEC actually doing? Depending on Senelec, Kappa, money going, foreign exchange going, those institutions will be building their productive base, their machinery, expanding. What will happen to NAWEC? So essentially, what type of relationship would lead to our greater dependency and what is going to eradicate our dependency? That is the issue. Just having the electricity, when tomorrow it will just be cut or dictate to you, and you believe that, yes, you are making progress.
You have 3 more minutes.
Yes, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, we look at education. About over 500,000 children will be produced by our school system every 12 years. We've seen the calculation. What are we doing to prepare them for the future? It cannot be just based on theory. If we are going to build agriculture, we cannot be ready to give our land to others to own. All this training will be meaningless unless the young people are given the means of production. We have the First Republic. We started inviting all those people, and they start taking the land in the combos. And then our women will go and work for them in their plantations. They make the profit, we continue to suffer. When we can give them fertilizer, we can give them seeds, we can give them farming implements, they can operate as cooperatives, share that profit, and eradicate their poverty. Investors come. We are not saying investors should not come, but when they come, they are partners. They can provide capital, we provide land, win-win, equal share. You will not alienate my land from me. The same thing with the ocean. Investors, what is happening in Gunjur, elsewhere? So we cannot allow that type of investment to continue, Honorable Speaker. We must have equitable investment where the prosperity of our land will continue. Honorable Speaker, my last word, it is important that tolerance is exercised. Everywhere you will hear people talking about citizenship. Who should be citizen of the Gambia? You were born here, you should not be citizen of the Gambia. When the Constitution says that if you are here for 15 years, you'll become a citizen of the Gambia by naturalization. Somebody who's born here going to get an ID card 18 years, you say that person is not a citizen. What is the logic? Somebody who is born here, stay here for 18 years, educated here, and go, you say he's not a citizen. But somebody who lives somewhere and come to this land and stay here for 15 years, you make that person a citizen. Is that logical? And some people are putting this in the minds of people, prejudices, so that we can have narrow nationalist sentiments. Honorable Speaker, that will lead us nowhere.
Thank you. Thank you.